obviously it doesn't fit.
Rick. All right. Well, it's 5:29. Well, I guess we'll wait a minute or two before let people log in.
Okay, testing. Could you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, you're not the clearest. How do I look to you?
I could hear you, but it's hollow. You know the way it always is.
Yeah. I mean, how's the visuals?
Visual looks good.
Yeah, you're a little pixelated, but not too bad.
Oh, really? Wonder why.
It's all about
where I am.
Yeah, where you are.
Yeah.
You might want to take off your wife. Well, no, your wife. No, you need Wi-Fi there, huh?
I took off the airplane mode.
Yeah, I hear that's good.
Because that way, you don't get interrupted.
No, you're fine.
All right. How long? Just 30 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's 5:30. Hello, everybody. I'm Herbert Siguenza. I'm the Playwright-in-Residence at the San Diego Rep. And every Thursday at this time we have Talking Theater with Todd. But I'm not Todd today. We're helping him out. Basically where we interview artists that we love, artists that we're going to work with in the upcoming season. And boy, we have a lot to talk about because the season, in a way, is uncertain. But we have an artist here that is scheduled to perform on stage in October, November. And that's Ric Salinas, my partner from Culture Clash. He's here with us today, and he's acting in a show called 57 Chevy that's written by a good friend of ours, Chris Franco. So hi, Rick. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Herbert, for having me.
Before we talk about 57 Chevy, let's check in. How have you been dealing with this, pandemic and stay-home order and all that?
Well,
or tell us what happened, or tell us what happened when you were in the.
I'll tell you.
They shut us down.
Yeah, you're part of this story. Now, is my eyesight good, or do I have to look?
Yeah, it's good.
Is it good? Because
yeah.
We're looking at each other. We're looking at our faces more than we've ever had in our lives with Zoom meetings. And now this is Instagram. This is new. I've been looking at my face more than I ever had. And I turned into my dad, which is funny, right? You get to that age, look in the mirror. Dad.
But oh well. Uh-oh.
Am I still on?
There a little bit.
Okay. I'm going. Well, hi. Thanks for having me on the show. Are you like?
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about what has happened to you lately.
All right. Well, we were up in Berkeley Repertory Theater. It was a homecoming. You know, going back to the Bay Area. We hadn't been there in something like 10 years or more, and we were performing Culture Clash Still in America, which we had just done at South Coast Rep. And it's a show that we've toured for many years. We called it Culture Clash in America, but this new incarnation we wrote, the Still, it's Culture Clash Still in America. And our other partner, our third partner, Richard Montoya. Time out.
Let me stop you right there, Rick. We're getting a little bit of a feedback.
From me? Or you?
I'm getting... I don't have another device open. Do you have another device open?
No, I don't. How about now? Was it too loud?
No, you're fine now.
Okay.
I think
I think my volume was too loud.
Oh, no, it's good now.
All right.
Okay, keep going.
Okay, good.
They'll tell us. If you see the notes down there, it says, Herbert, you've got a big echo and feedback situation. Are you using more than one device? But I'm not. I just turned off.
All right.
I just turned off my computer. Maybe that was it.
Maybe that's what was it. All right. Well, no, we were doing our show, Culture Clash Still in America, and as I was talking about Richard Montoya, our third member, who, we went in it with kind of bringing a new spin, and Richard created the whole beginning of this piece, to really make it like it's today, like ripped out of the news, and it was about the border and about the ICE detention units. And so anyway, we had a great beginning, a great show. We got reviews that we have never gotten in years. In other words, they were great reviews. And we could talk about that because I feel like we've been around for 36 years. As you know, our anniversary was a couple days ago. So we have a batch of new reviewers that are reviewing Culture Clash show. They're younger. Some of them have never seen our show. So it's great to be reviewed newly instead of having these old reviewers who are tired of our stuff or they don't understand comedy. Anyway, in the middle of our run, we were right in the middle, March 15th, they just shut down the theater. We packed our bags and came down to Los Angeles and San Diego, and our play ended. It ended just like that, and we were just a microcosm of everybody else. You know, everybody's life just got upended, and that's it. But we were like going strong.
Luckily, it was videotaped, and they showed it for a couple of weeks. So
we had a camera, actually 2 cameras, which is a luxury in theater, and we were able to go on the Broadway platform HD, which at some point a lot of people got to see it on video. So so that's good. You know, it's sad. My whole family didn't get to see it. My whole family from Northern California. I had about 30 tickets that I bought. Good thing I got a refund. I could have kept the money in Berkeley Rep, but I decided to get that refund. And none of my family saw it. So it was kind of a drag, you know, for my mother, my sisters, my father, my cousins, everyone. They couldn't see the play. But a lot of other people did get to see it. And it was a hit. It was a major hit up in the Bay Area. And when we did this play, we thought that we were going to be preaching to the choir, which is the Berkeley repertory liberal audience, you know, real intelligent Berkeleyites. And they loved it. They were cracking up alongside with us because we were having a good time. So when we're having a good time, the audience is having a good time. But it all ended. They kept the set frozen. So whenever we start again, if we start again, we'll be able to go back up and do it. But, you know, it was kind of hard to start a new life after you were going strong, after you had on your calendar that you were going to come back April 18, you know? And so it was crazy. We're all in the same boat. Everyone theater. I mean, when you think of Broadway closing down, my gosh, you know, that's huge. That's a whole community.
Well, I got to tell you, man, now that I live in San Diego, you don't know how much people want to see Culture Clash, and hopefully we can bring that show here to the Rep because they really want it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, come on. San Diego Rep is somewhat of our second home at some point. We did so many productions.
But we haven't been here maybe in 10 years, I think.
Yeah. Well, it's on our list, isn't it? Well, I'm supposed to be on there with 57 Chevy if we want to segue to that.
Well, yeah, let's segue. You know, we had an artistic meeting today, and we were talking about, well, are we going to be open? Are we going to be open for your show? Or is there going to be limitations for audience? We don't know. But no matter what, San Diego Rep's going to offer you, whether it's live or virtual. So we're thinking about if we can't gather around, there's 2 scenarios. We can videotape it and provide it like that for people to see and buy tickets to, or maybe there's a combination where you do it live to like 50 people, you know, and then it also gets shot, you know, streamed live, and people can see it in their houses. So I think that's the future of theater.
Well, yeah, it almost seems like talk about social distancing, right? Imagine having the theater with only so many people, people's herd, you know, because we're all herds now. We're all like a Walking Dead. Like whoever lives under your house, that's your herd that doesn't have corona, or, you know what I mean? We can't infect each other. So we could sit in a theater, but how many people do you sit in a theater? I mean, I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to do it with, you know, with a sparse audience. And if it means, you know, videotaping it and then releasing it after, I mean, you know, as artists, we're game for anything. I mean, I was thinking that for Culture Clash, we could do an outdoor show and have people, some far meadow, just sit in their blankets, and we could be doing a show with microphones on stage, you know?
Yeah.
That's social distancing. But
yeah, people feel, I've heard that people would feel more comfortable being outside.
Yeah. But I'm willing to do anything now, because after a while, you know, you could only sit home and create projects and have so many Zoom meetings because we're all working towards the future and we don't know where that future is.
We don't know when it starts. Yeah.
You know.
Hey, so tell us about the history of 57 Chevy, how it started. How did you get involved?
Yeah. I mean, you know, being a member of Culture Clash, you know, the three of us, Richard and Herbert and myself, we are known out in the world because of Culture Clash. So it's great that we have that exposure with not only audiences, but with our peers. So Chris Franco, who's an award-winning, Emmy-winning writer, he's a host, he's an actor. He was, at one point he was Latins Anonymous. And at one point he performed with Latins Anonymous at San Diego Rep even. Anyway,
Yeah,
the guy has had this great idea to do this play about his life and his father and son story. But the poor guy had, he contracted something in his throat. He had to get radiation. He's okay, but he can't perform. He can't sing. He can't go on stage. So he had this piece. And so he called me thinking, hey, maybe Ric Salinas can do this, you know? And so we workshopped it a lot. It took us like a year to get it to where it is now. And when I say workshopped is, you know, I added humor to it, punchlines. I kind of made it my own, but it was not my story. It was written by Chris Franco. And what attracted me to the story is that it was a positive image, positive story of a Mexican, a Mexicano, not even Chicano. And in a nutshell, the story is about this father who buys a brand new 57 Chevy in 1957. He drives down to Mexico City to pick up his wife, his two daughters then, and his son. Packs them in the 57 Chevy, and he moves to the United States, and he lands in South Central Los Angeles, which at the time was predominantly African-American, but there was also Latinos there. It was pretty multicultural. So he goes with his family from Mexico City to South Central, and that's what you would call the first migration. Well, the second migration is when he goes from South Central and he moves to the San Fernando Valley, which he called the same Fernando Valley. And this is the story of, they were the very first Mexican family in the neighborhood, first Mexican family at their school, first Mexican family at this parish. They were the first Mexican family in San Fernando, in this neighborhood, right? And so he felt like he was the first alien from outer space, being this Mexican kid in this, like, you know, suburban, you know, place. So
right.
An easy way to describe it is kind of like a Latino Wonder Years.
Yes.
It starts with him being 4 years old to 6 years old and to 10. And so the most you hear about it is his voice as a 10-year-old. So it's very much like the Wonder Years.
Wonder Years.
And then they even did another one with what was the one with the African American kid that everyone hates. Everyone hates Chris.
Chris
Rock did the voiceover.
Chris Rock,
yeah, very similar to that era, you know, the 70s.
But, you know, we don't see those stories on TV, you know, Latino stories of young kids. And if they're young, they're probably victims, right? They're immigrants, they're on the train, you know, they're behind bars or something. So that's what I love about this play. It doesn't deal with victimhood at all.
Which is something you rarely see.
It shows Latinos that I know, that you know, that our neighbors, our friends that have been here a while. We're American as apple pie, and we just happen to be Latino, and you know, there's no victimhood about us. We're just hardworking people.
Absolutely, Herb. And that's when I said that it was probably one of my most political plays I did, yet it has no politics. It's not political, but the fact that we're doing a story that's positive, that's about people we know, and people that, this is the funny thing. After I do this show, I had a guy from Australia, an Indian guy, a Filipino woman, Irish. And they said at the end, oh, that's my dad. That's my dad. And I'm going, wait a minute. Your dad is a Mexican, hardworking man, a Mexican. You know, once you say Mexican, you know, immigrant, that's already labeled bad. You know, you're going to hear something
that's
like the victimhood, or they're criminals, right?
Right.
So these people are telling me this is their dad because what it is, you know, we all grow up, we have our parents that work hard and they just want the best for your kids. That's what we're doing. All of us do that, but you never get to see that on television or in film or even in theater. So when the story came about, I mean, this kid watched television. He watched everything that, you know, Herbert, me and you are the product of the same era. We watched the Brady Bunch, the Munsters.
You know, I had a brother, an older brother. I thought I was Beaver and my brother was Wally.
Yeah.
I mean, I really thought I was the Beaver because he even looked Latino, right? He
Yeah.
had black hair. He kind of looked like me. He was like light skinned with black hair, right?
Yeah,
you know,
little gordito like you used to.
Yeah, gordito like me. So I thought, you know, he was one of us, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of people don't realize that you grow up Latino in this country, and you get acculturated in a second in school. You're going to learn English. I mean, you were born here, Herbert. You know, people are born. Montoya's like fourth generation Chicano, Latino, Mexican American. You know, his family. When I tell people that Richard's family was here before the Pilgrims landed on Plymouth Rock, people go, "Wait, really?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?" When I did 57 Chevy, this woman after the show, she was elderly, I'll tell you that, and she said, I'll never forget. She's there. Wow, Latinos in the '60s. Wow, really? Like she didn't think we were in the '60s.
Well,
growing up.
We were here. That we were just kind of more in the shadows. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I think, you know, my dad, he didn't like to make noise back then. He was kind of like, you know, humble and kind of under the radar. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, because there just wasn't a lot of us back then. You know.
And even, you know, our play, one of our favorite plays that we've done that is a fan favorite too, is Chavez Ravine. And we were illustrating there that in the 40s and the 50s, Mexicans spoke like the regular Johnny down the street, you know?
Right.
Say,
right.
Kid, what's up? You know, it's like.
Right.
And so we, in fact, the word Chicano used to be a put down, you know?
Yeah,
and even Mexicans didn't accept Chicano, right? So that's a whole other story. But in 57 Chevy, it's definitely this kid who has a father that is just on him day after day. And he doesn't realize it till at the end of the play, wow, that he did become his dad. Ironically, I said that I look like my dad when I look at myself. But he became his dad, you know?
Yeah, our parents gave us a work ethic, right? They gave us like a sense of, hey, you know, I did all this for you. You should do it too. You know, that kind of thing. That's how I grew up. You know, with a real direct work ethic. You know, my dad didn't care. My dad didn't care if I was an artist as long as I went to college. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So when I went to art college, he was fine with that as long as it was el colegio.
Yeah. But Herbert, how about growing up? Like I grew up in the Mission District of San Francisco, and then we moved to Daly City, right next door.
Which is very similar to your 57 Chevy story, right?
Yeah, it's very San Fernando Valley. In fact, Daly City is the only suburb of San Francisco. But I grew up in high school. I swear to God, I wanted, and it's not that I wanted to be, but I literally, you could say that I thought I was white. I mean, I was listening to rock. I did not think about my Salvadorian roots whatsoever. I was like, everybody, I was just this white thinking guy. I knew I was Latino. I'd go home. I'd listen to Spanish at home. I'd eat tortillas and pupusas and frijoles. And then I would turn on the TV and, you know, grandma watching the novelas, watching Cantinflas in the weekends. And then I'm watching the Brady Bunch and Gilligan's Island, you know? So we grew up with that bicultural reality. And it wasn't until college, you know, speaking of college, that I got like a wake-up call where I went to San Francisco State, right? And it's the first ethnic studies department in our whole country.
Pretty political. Very political. There, yeah.
And that's when I found out, wait a minute, I can't deny who I am. And it wasn't that I was denying it. It's just I didn't know. I really didn't know. You grow up that way sometimes.
Hey, did you have a lot of Filipino friends? Filipinos?
Oh, yeah. Filipino friends, yes. They call it Little Manila.
You can't do that now, Rick. You can't make fun of people.
We got to be so careful with doing, you know, I have two daughters that are high school age, right? They're teenagers.
And they're like,
and they always say, Papi, you can't do that.
I know.
Can't do that.
I know. My wife reminds me all the time, too.
I know. We got to be careful. But
no, we're one of the few groups, really, in American theater that I know that, you know, we appropriate cultures and get away with it, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I still play African Americans. I play women. You know, LGBTQ plus, and you know.
But Herbert, I mean, you know, with 57 Chevy, what we do with Culture Clash, I think we've earned the right to be able to be artists, to do characters that sometimes are real people, but we don't clown them. For example, we show that they're fully developed, three-dimensional characters. We really show in fact, the humanity of all of us. But as brown men of color, I think that's the advantage, that we could play other races. But can three white guys do what we're doing? It's be
Probably
really
not.
tough. Really tough.
Probably not.
Yeah.
No, I love 57 Chevy. You know, after I saw it, I thought, man, I got to write my story. You know, my dad was making good money in the 60s. He had a couple of jobs. He was a janitor at night, you know?
Yeah.
And he was an apartment manager in the day, right? And so he had two incomes, and he bought a 65 Mustang.
Oh man.
65 Mustang, convertible, red.
Oh my gosh.
So, you know, he was like, you know, he was cool, you know.
And that's American.
You know,
imagine buying an American car like a Mustang.
Yeah, he would pick me up at school, and I'd be like strutting out, right? I'd be so proud of my dad, right? In a 65 Mustang convertible.
Unbelievable. See, I think go ahead.
Yeah. No, and on top of that, I had a little monkey.
Oh my God.
Because back in the day, you could go into a store, into a pet store, and buy a monkey.
Yeah, this was before the Tiger King days, right?
Yeah. And I bought a little squirrel monkey, and so it was me, my dad, and my little monkey in a 65 Mustang. It's amazing.
Oh, we all have our stories. And the thing about 57 Chevy, everyone has the story of their car that they remember, that they grew up with, you know. And so that's why 57 Chevy, the name of the play is that, because the 57 Chevy went through all our lives, the lives of everybody, all the sisters, the mother, and all that. But I know Chris Franco was onto something, because you've heard my story where I'm an immigrant too, and I'll never forget when we went out to do trick or treat for the first time, and we had moved to Los Angeles direct from El Salvador, and we're dressed. And trick-or-treat. And I remember buying our outfits at Press, and they were the ones with the plastic face, and you put on the thing like a muumuu, and it was plastic. It was all cheap, right? And we're walking down. I had a little pumpkin that made a little sound, ding, 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 ding. And then we're walking down, and a lady in the second floor of the house, you know, she pulls up the window. She says, "Lady, Halloween is tomorrow, not today. It's tomorrow." And so we were out there on October 30th thinking that was Halloween, but we were a day early. And I knew that, and I was 5, so I knew, and I was going, "Mama, let's," and we were sneaking, going back home. We're so embarrassed.
How embarrassing.
But those are the American stories as immigrants that we all have.
Yeah, no, those are great.
Yeah. See, a lot of people are, this is something else I'd like to mention here, since we're talking about immigrants and about the story of fathers and sons. You know, a lot of people are afraid of that, the illegal immigrants, the illegal aliens, the way they kind of picture us, and then the Mara Salvatrucha, the Salvadorian gang, you know, they always try to belittle us so that we don't get strength in who we really are. But if you go here in Los Angeles, in East LA, there are cities, miles and miles of pura raza, second, third, fourth generation Latinos. I mean, everyone working at Starbucks, at the gas station, at Barnes and Noble, in college, they're teachers, doctors, professors, lawyers, but we don't know that. And I say, if America knows how many of us there really are, when you think of California being almost 50% now, right? If not already, that's out of 10 people, that's 5 people that are Latinos, and we're not all those criminals. So anyway, I hope that we could always present who we are a lot better than they present us on TV and in film, because it's getting old, man, getting old.
So what do you got? You got anything up your sleeve? Any projects you want to do besides 57 Chevy after? Well, you and I have been talking about doing the ultimate Salvadoran, ultimate Salvadoran script, right?
Well, me and you got to do
57
this.
Chevy, where we just talk about.
Yeah. I mean, we have an outline.
I can talk about my 65 Mustang.
Yeah, we have an outline in a way, and it's our lives. It's us being, I guess we're boomers now, Herbert, you know, but growing up here, being Salvadorian, and Salvadorians are a huge community after after Mexicans, Salvadorans are the second largest community in Los Angeles, and in Washington, D.C., they're the #1 Latino community. There are more Salvadorians than anything out in Maryland and Washington, more than Dominicans or Puerto Ricans. They're #1. So we got to do that play. Right. And that's in us. We got to do a play. It's going to be a comedy. It's going to expose who we are and our history. And a lot of people don't know who we are. But and there's so many talented Salvadorians now,
There were some filmmakers in Washington, in Virginia, Salvadoreños, that are making a movie about us, growing up Salvadoreño in Virginia. I contributed, it was a GoFundMe thing. I even contributed money because I thought that was such a unique thing,
Yeah, there's a lot of poetess and poets now, Salvadoreño.
Yeah, we have another 6 minutes. If you have a question for Rick, you can write it in the comments, please. Otherwise, we're going to continue here. What else you got in the?
Well, well, what's funny, Herbert? I'm talking to you, and you've been giving me some great ideas. I guess that's what you do as a playwright in residence in San Diego. You think up of what to do, right?
That's all I do. I just think around and think.
What a good job!
Yeah,
good job. Hey, did you get your stimulus check, man? I'm waiting for mine.
No. Thank God I didn't need it. I didn't need it. It went to somebody who
who needed it. Good. No, you gave me the idea. I wrote a screenplay called Suavecito, and it's like a mockumentary of the rock bands of the 70s. But it's a mockumentary. It's like it's very much Spinal Tap, but in the 70s, people, you don't realize that it wasn't just Santana. There was Sapo, El Chicano, Azteca. There were all these rock bands that grew up in the hood, whether the Mission District or in East LA, and they all thought they were going to be Santana. They all played congas, timbales, and it was classic sound. Well, I wrote a screenplay about that, and it's a mockumentary, but I took it around, and a lot of producers told me, you know what? Nobody's even done the real story. So how could you do a mockumentary when nobody knows about that? So you know what I mean?
No one's even done Santana.
Yeah, that's all they know.
Even Santana. Who would play Santana? I don't know.
Exactly. That's what you need to do. You need to do the Santana story. But anyway, you gave me the idea, so I'm working on making it into a play. Just make it into a play. Well, the whole idea is there.
That's a musical.
Yeah, it's a musical, and I just need to get, somebody, I think you mentioned a name, that has that sound, and it's all young actors that they want to make it as this garage band, and, it's all comedy. It's all comedy.
And we'll play the viejos. We'll play the viejos that are getting interviewed.
We could play the old, that'd be good to do in video, that we show how we are now, and then we go back and we show the young self. So anyway, that's called Suavecito, and hopefully, it's one of the plays that I show you so that, San Diego Rep could see, because it's right up their alley. It's right up your alley, the Rep.
Right on, man. Well, I just want to let people know that San Diego Rep is still here. We have a great website with a bunch of virtual stuff that you can watch. I've been doing 1 minute with Herbert Siguenza every day, lunch breaks with Herbert Siguenza, where I read a poem or do a recipe or something. So those are fun. And we're going to have a lot of programming coming in the fall virtually, and I think 57 Chevy might be one of those projects,
Yeah, I hope so.
Sure.
I mean,
yeah.
Estoy listo, as they say, I got my bags packed, ready to go.
Well, your piece is perfect for a video shoot, because it's a one-person show,
One person,
Yeah, it'd be great.
Well, I'm glad San Diego
Rep
is still moving strong. You guys I've been reading up on all these events you have, and now you're doing these interviews. Keep at it, Herbert. Hopefully you'll see Culture Clash pretty soon, maybe doing something, on video or in TikTok. Maybe in TikTok.
Tiki-three.
Tiki-three. TikTok.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. This video will be posted, and you can watch it tomorrow on another platform on YouTube. All right. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you, everybody. I've never been on Instagram, so wow.
Yeah.
It was great.
Bye.